All right, Chaz, let's get right to it. Well, I know you spent a good part of your week listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and watching Napoleon Dynamite. I know that was on your list, so you gave that some time. While you were doing that, the Reds hit a season-worst stretch that brought them a lot closer to the Diamondbacks, Cardinals, and Giants than it did to the Mets and the final wild card spot they've been chasing, all at a time when the baseball calendar flips to the month of September and reality starts to kick in that there really isn't that much season left. So from where you sit at Casa de Goldsmith, the Reds' reality is now what?
The Reds are a team it's funny, Andrew Abbott kind of said this and alluded to this the other day, but it's offense, pitching, and defense, and none of those have been great or consistent or reliable enough for the Reds to reach a certain level. And because they had nothing that could kind of carry them through this week, and they also weren't playing their best baseball collectively around that, they didn't have enough to hang their hat on as they had their worst week of the season.
Yeah, with the Reds win on Sunday, that was good. And a Mets loss on Sunday. The Reds are 4 games back in the wild card, but with those other teams nipping at their heels currently, 4 games back with that big home series head-to-head against the Mets less than a week away. More on that in just a bit. Welcome to Power Stacks, proud members of the Growler Podcast Network. Coming up on the show, where will it start if it does? If the Reds do have a hot streak left in them, what or who might be the spark for the streak that this team desperately needs? Also, he plays every day, and it may not be important to you, but it is to Elly De La Cruz. Chaz talks with number 44 about that and other pressing late-season topics. And you make the call, and the Reds have made the call. September call-ups, the roster expands, and we are there. So let's start there, Chaz, as close as we can come to some breaking news on Sunday late afternoon. The rosters expand on Monday. What do we know?
The Reds are calling up Sal Stewart. Kind of the only thing that puts a damper on it. Yeah.
That's for you.
The Reds are calling up Sal Stewart, period. The only thing that puts a damper on it is the fact that they've kind of been scuffling here. What this story should be and what kind of still is, and I think it's how the team will frame it too, because they don't feel like they're out of it, and they're not out of it. They still have a chance. But this is a Reds team that in their minds are playing must-win games, pivotal games, still fighting, still competing, now adding their most hyped position player prospect since 2023. You can make the case that that's Noel Marte. You can make the case that that's even Elly De La Cruz, depending on which prospect ranking that you're looking at from where they were at and where they were ranked when these guys got called up. Sal's been talking about this being his goal since February, well, really since like 2022. But since February, he's talked a lot about the idea of August and September, earning that call up, getting the opportunity to make an impact in a significant role in meaningful games. He is such a competitor. And I've heard even, recently over the last couple of weeks, it's been something on his mind, like, I want to help, get me up there. And that's something the Reds truly, truly love about him. And now he's going to get that opportunity. And he is the kind of competitor that should bring some juice to the Reds lineup.
And Chaz, you have a little idea as to where Sal Stewart is, what is in his head, what his mindset might be like. How can you enlighten us as he's about to get here for the month of September for the Reds? How can you shed some more light on who he is as a player and what the Reds can expect?
Sal Stewart, always a fun guy to interview. My favorite interview I've done with Sal was from spring training this year. Here's about 5 minutes of Sal from back in February. I interviewed him at spring training, talking about what this season was going to be for him, and he's fulfilled a lot of that so far. So here's my interview with Sal Stewart from back in February. About following your minor league career is, you get drafted and it's like, all right, the profile is first baseman, power, like how you made yourself into a second, third baseman, very smart hitter. How have you kind of built yourself and continued to progress and obviously improve what everyone thinks you need?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people just say things that without watching. I think that's part of it. I feel like I put in the work as well. I've had good off seasons. Kudos to my trainer and the people I train with. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've just been who I am, and sometimes we go based off what we see, not what actually is going on. So, but I'm excited for the season. I feel really good, and honestly, I'm just gonna continue to do what I do, and whatever happens, happens.
Where does the chip on your shoulder come from?
Kind of just everybody always telling me I couldn't. I mean, that's just who I am. It fuels me. It's who I am. And I wanna take care of my family. I wanna be that guy that tells my parents that you don't have to work another day. I want to be that guy that we win a championship here and everyone's watching us play in the World Series. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that fuel me, but I'm just excited to go out there and wherever it may be to start and play how I play, and whatever it pays out, pays out.
Obviously, you've still got work to do, but it seems like it clicked at some point. Like, at what point in your minor league career so far did it really click and you feel like you started to level up?
And honestly, the first 3 months of my professional career, I think, I think I was even below 200, and I wouldn't even want to look at the scoreboard. But I mean, I think just getting my feet wet, understanding who I am, sticking to who I am, sticking to what I know, be a good hitter first, let the power come. In a day and age where we want to look for launch angle and stuff, we kind of forget the skill of being a hitter. So, just for me, I mean, it kind of clicked just knowing, like, be who I am. I prepare well. I know who I am when I prepare. So sticking to that and being confident who I am.
You're an approach guy, you use the whole field. Who stressed that to you, or did you decide you want to be kind of an old school hitter? How did that come about?
I mean, just from the people I hit with. I mean, they've instilled it in me throughout my whole life. I mean, yeah, we got to value good hitters, because if you see all the World Series championships and all the playoff teams, they have good hitters first and the power comes. So I think that's a lost art in the sport, and I feel like I'm just going to continue to do what I do, because I feel like being a good hitter helps you win games. Sometimes it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it shows up in the win column. So it's been instilled in me throughout my whole career, and I look forward to continuing to do it.
I saw you boxing the other day. How much work do you do to improve your continue to improve your athleticism and your versatility? You play second and third. How much do you do that goes into that?
It's every day. I mean, it's something I need to continue to work on. Everybody's got their own stuff that they need to keep an eye on. So for me, that's just making sure my body's ready. My athleticism stays, all the hard work I did in the off season. So whatever it may be, whether it's stat or whether it's big in the weight room doing agilities, just whatever it may be. So I just got to continue to focus on that, harp on that. So I'm ready for whatever the team asks me to do.
I think we talked about this once. You described the impact that Yonder Alonso has had with you.
Yeah.
How would you describe that?
Sure, Yonder and Manny both. I mean, they've been great.
Machado?
Yeah, they've been great. They've been great mentors to me. Not only on the field but off the field. They're people that I trust with everything. They're more of my best friends, if anything, my older brothers than what it has to do with baseball. So I mean, they've been incredible in my life, and I could never repay them for what they've done for me.
How did you connect with each of them?
Through family, friends, through I mean, Yonder I knew Yonder first through practically a family member of mine, and then he introduced me to Manuel when the time was right. So they've been surreal in my life, and I consider them family. So yeah, it's been great.
What's the best advice Machado's given you?
Just be who I am. Just be who I am. Continue to man, he's done so much for me, but man, I'd say we prepare so well. So he just says, go out there. I know what I do when we prepare. So the preparation's done. Just go out and play and be who I am.
You train together often?
Yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
Wow. In Florida?
Yeah, not in Miami. So
do you kind of learn, or do you do the same program? Like, do what Manny's doing? Probably works pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, everyone knows what he's done on the baseball field. He's incredible. So I mean, I'm kind of just following that pen. He's given me he's allowed me the privilege to train with him when I was young, like when I was younger, and now he still allows me that privilege. So I mean, I never take it for granted. And I'm super excited for this season. We've been working on some stuff. So I mean, I'm excited.
All right, let's do some nutshell stuff on Sal Stewart. We've obviously talked about him a good deal before. You've been squarely in his corner now for some time. But in
No
terms of
pressure.
what he's done, yeah, no pressure. I mean, listen, the kid knows that there's pressure. Anyone that has come up the way that he has knows that there's pressure. But in his time with the Bats, and we talk about development of young players, in his time with the Bats, where is he in terms of number of games, and how would you describe the trajectory or the ups and downs that he's experienced at the AAA level just in the last month or so?
The comp is Noelvi Marte. Noelvi started 2023 in AA, tore the cover off the ball, got called up to AAA at midseason, actually a couple weeks before Sal ended up being called up. But then I believe Noelvi got called up after 39 games, and that's about what Sal has played this year. He actually started in AAA pretty slow, which was like the first piece of adversity that he faced, but now he's got an OPS over 1 that shows you what he's been doing recently. He's just a natural fluid field hitter. And he's like, I think this is Cowboys line, not on Sal, but he used this on other guys. He wakes up and he has 2 hits. He's truly hit over power. My favorite part of Sal's journey is that when he got drafted, he was drafted behind Cam Collier. Cam was supposed to be this guy, both high school picks. The line was, all right, Sal, maybe, he's a first baseman, but he's also not a true slugger. So if he's a first baseman who's not a slugger, what is he? And then I remember very vividly the next spring seeing him in camp. He's actually taking ground balls at second. I'm like, this isn't a first. And now he might end up being a first baseman, but that's more because the Reds have Brian Hayes than anything else. I remember seeing some real versatility and some athleticism. And then there's a maturity. You watch him hit, and there's a feel there, a polish there. Very smooth, and then he's really run into some balls in AAA, but I wouldn't even say power is at the core of his game. The core of his game is kind of the competitiveness that he plays with. He's known for kind of getting under the skin of the opponents. That's kind of like a swagger that Elly has, that Marte has, but that Sal brings to the table too, and that's pretty cool. That's a lot of what people like about him. His teammates love him, and I'm excited to see him.
I remember earlier this season as I don't remember if it was when he was first promoted or just kind of the tear that he was on. And Terry Francona was asked about, hey, what do you know about Sal Stewart from what you saw back in Goodyear in the spring? And he said something to the effect of, for someone his age and his experience level, he's about as advanced of a hitter, or as looks to be as advanced of a hitter as you're going to see for someone with that age and that experience level. So that's his calling card. The Reds have a need, so that's what they want to do, is see if he can help with his bat. How do you anticipate that the Reds might get him on the field, in the lineup? Will he just DH? Will they put him in the field? How do you see that playing out?
First, I want to hit on one more thing that you alluded to, the fact that Sal's 21 years old, which is the same age that Elly was when he got called up. Like, I don't have these numbers off the top of my head, but I feel like McLean was like 23, 24. Steer was
Right.
23, 24. Like, these guys get called up later than that. And Sal is one of those early risers. Like, he's the same age as Roman Anthony. Like, he's here quickly. What's the role going to be? Well, it's very fluid and it's changing by the minute. So Sal's going to come up tomorrow, and Matt McLean has homered in 2 straight games, and he's gotten a couple walks today, and he's been playing well. So do you take Matt out of the lineup tomorrow? We'll see. I'm pretty confident Sal will be in there very regularly, but it's about who you're taking out. Gavin Lux's versatility is the key to this puzzle. He had been DHing more. I don't see that happening as much. You can, let's say, put Gavin at second. McLean gets the day off, but McLean, he's swinging it well. So maybe you have McLean in that day, and you put Lux in left for Austin Hayes. Oh, but Austin Hayes is swinging well too. Now that I think, well, nobody's really swinging the bat well, but you guys get the point I'm making. Hayes could be a guy who maybe plays a little less. Maybe they take a start or 2 away from Brian Hayes a week. I don't think Sal will play a ton of second, maybe a little second. And then I think they're going to want to work him at first. They're not going to throw him into the fire at first base, where I think he's only played 2 minor league games, but he'll be a consistent option in the mix there. I think it'll be more mix and match, moving pieces based on like who's had a few good games. Like Matt's had a few good games. Austin's had a few good games. Maybe Brian Hayes gets the day off tomorrow. I don't know. But they'll kind of mix and match in there, I would assume, based on who's hot at the very present moment.
All right, so that is the news of the day. Sal Stewart at least is a September call-up. They have one more position or one more player they could add to that if they choose to do that. But the symptoms for the Reds, the symptoms of the slide have been errors, strikeouts, mental mistakes, a lack of production with runners in scoring position. On Sunday, we should point out, no errors. They scored 7 runs. They ran into a couple of balls and had a couple of home runs. Brady Singer continues to be the guy down the stretch that has pitched as well consistently as anyone in the Reds rotation. He did that again on Sunday and gave the Reds a chance to win that game against the Cardinals. So as we hit the leadoff spot now and bring Sal Stewart into the picture, and we ask the question, Chaz, if the Reds need something now to make this turnaround that they think and hope started against the Cardinals on Sunday, to make it something that matters, if they need something to carry them, if they need a spark, could it be Sal Stewart and his bat? Certainly that could help. Could it be the rotation? Is it someone other than Brady Singer? Do you have some more big starts with Nick Lodolo now that he's past the blister? Does Hunter Green continue to show up and move past? I think he was pretty good at Dodger Stadium. That was just a really bad time for the team. Where do you think a spark might show up that could help springboard the Reds somewhere they need to be?
Obviously, the focus over the last week and a half has been on the offense, and justifiably so, understandably so. That's got to be better. Their plan is that Sal's going to help that, kind of raise the floor of what that unit is right now. But the strength of this team still needs to be his pitching staff, and I think there have been a bunch of starts recently. Hunter against the Dodgers, like even Singer today. Singer won, but Singer today. Abbott below this bar even yesterday. Littell, he rebounded, he rallied, he did a solid job on Friday to keep the Reds in it, but it wasn't that Littell leading the Reds to a win type game that a team with a scuffling offense needed. So I've been thinking a lot about the rotation over the last week, in that no one has propelled the Reds to wins on a consistent enough basis, and that's one area for this team to take a step in a positive direction if they're going to end up doing that.
We've said this 100 times. The strength of this team is starting pitching, and if you could pitch, you have a chance. So I agree with you that maybe that's where this starts if it does. So let's go back to Andrew Abbott, the all-star in the rotation who was so good and so consistent, for the first 2/3 of the season. But he had, and you've pointed out before, he had goals this season that he specifically worked towards in the offseason, was that when you got to August and when you got to September, that he would physically still be strong, physically still be able to pitch at the level he did earlier in the season and make a difference for the Reds, where he's acknowledged that he obviously struggled down the stretch late in the year last year. And so I talked to Abbott, and this is kind of a 2-part conversation. It was, how is that working out for you, your off-season preparation for this time of the year? And then what makes you believe in the clubhouse, in the lineup, and in the team that with September to play now, that you can help be a part of getting the Reds where they'd like to be? Here's Abbott on those topics.
I think the results are kind of all over the place. I've had a few good games, a few bad games, but overall I felt really strong. I felt recovery's gone really well, and there's been we're kind of trending up in the right places. We're staying on the same line as what we want to see, or maybe a tick higher, which is great. But there's always room for improvement. There's always things. So you're just getting the results to follow up how I feel, and all that is going to be the main focus.
But are you satisfying some curiosity that you had from your training or your preparation for this time of year? Are you starting to see some of the things that you wanted to see one way or the other?
Yeah, I think so, just because of how the last 2 seasons have gone at this time. I've just been worn down. I haven't been able to throw like every 5 days, needing extra days and whatnot. But you still have to remember, it's still a hard game. So even if you're feeling good, you still got to go out and perform. And I think that's just mainly what I'm focusing on right now, is just staying available, staying ready to go and whatnot as we continue to make a push, continue to try to get to the playoffs.
Yeah. How do you view this homestand? You're here for 9 games, there's some really good teams, and while you're here, the calendar flips to September. How do you view this stretch?
You know, I do think this homestand means a lot in the picture for the playoffs for us. You know, we're playing really good teams, as you said, so we're going to have some really tough ball games, some competitive ball games. So, you know, just coming ready, handling the little things, not letting the game speed up on us, you know, kind of going back and learning what we didn't do right against the Dodgers and applying it to these teams. You know, we can make up some ground here. You know, we know that, and we just got to put our head down and go.
Yeah. Last thing, how would you describe the feel that you have personally and how you feel about the group competing at this time of the year?
You know, we're playing really well right now, I think. You know, we're missing kind of a key hit, a key pitch, you know, maybe a defensive out, like something along the lines has happened in the last few games. But, you know, overall, I think we're playing very sound, very, you know, together. Like, we're feeling good. Like, even though, like, we've kind of dropped a little bit further out of the race, we're still within striking distance with plenty of games. And we all know that. So, you know, the talk between, you know, players and whatnot is just, hey, just keep going, just keep competing and whatnot. It'll fall where they may. We know that we have 3 against the team in front of us coming up. So we just know we have to capitalize on, you know, winning when they're losing and stuff like that.
Now, when he said they were playing some good baseball, I think you could say they were in some close games. And I think Jose Trevino post-game on Saturday kind of clarified where I think Abbott was going with that, in that we're in close games and we're not playing our best, is what he said. On Sunday, there was did they meet? Did they have a team meeting? Would you classify it that? Or did some guys just talk before the game on Sunday? I know the message was, we've played well all season, relax, and let's go back to that. What do you know about that?
I'd call it a meeting. I don't have as much about the content, but the last time they had a team, it's funny. I went back through it today because the Reds almost fell under 500. And the last team meeting that I knew about was coming off the stretch where it went like Cubs, someone else, Cubs, Brewers, and that it was in like May. That was a really rocky stretch of the season. And then they have a team meeting. They sweep the Diamondbacks. That was the last time this team was under 500. So that's the last team meeting I know about. So with the team on the verge of falling back below that threshold, they had probably some similar conversations about kind of the expectation and the way they need to play here going forward.
Yeah. All right. So looking for a spark. We know that defensively, the Reds have been inconsistent. They've been an incomplete team that way more recently, I think, than they've been throughout the season. So we can kind of table the defensive conversation right now. But when you look at the lineup, what do you think about the lineup, adding Sal Stewart, and maybe some other places where a spark could potentially come? Or are they just handicapped in a way that they have to have everything fall right to be successful?
So I talked about Sal playing some at DH, but kind of the most interesting story on the Reds that not enough people are talking about right now is kind of where Miguel Andujar's at. Tito said about him on Friday, I believe the quote was, he can't run. So that's not good. I also caught up with Andujar. He said he's doing better. He's rehabbing. He's making progress. He was in the lineup on Friday and Saturday, back-to-back days, which was a step in the right direction after I believe he just started like 3 out of 8 games kind of over the last week. But we all know how well he's been swinging the bat. But because of the quad, because he can't really run, because what if he hits a ground ball? What if he hits a ball into the gap that he's not able to stretch? Like, he's got work to do. And if he's progressing and he's rehabbing and he's improving and he's doing all that, then he's in the position to be one of those guys who can make that sort of impact for the Reds. But if he's not getting better, then he can't be that spark. So that's a really interesting storyline to me. I mean, he was this team's cleanup hitter kind of before he got banged up. You look at Hayes and McLean, who I mentioned, 2 guys who helped lead the Reds to a win on Sunday, 2 guys who had good weekends, but just haven't hit well enough. Hayes specifically against right-handed pitching, McLean on the whole this season. And then Sal, you know, those would be 4 guys I really point to as guys who have kind of got my eye on.
I talked to Gavin Lux in LA right after he got his World Series ring. And I said, you know, all the normal stuff, you know, what was that like? The former teammates that you won the World Series with, and what did they say? The reception, all that was positive. But then you get to the point in the conversation where he's walking back to the Reds dugout in Los Angeles with a World Series ring in his hand. And I said, what was that like what did guys want to see? How did you share that with them? And what does that represent? And he said, look, that can be, he said it was really cool. That can be the carrot that provides us a little motivation. I don't want to get too dramatic and say that Gavin Lux bringing his World Series ring back to the Reds is going to light a fire. I'm not going there, but there has to be something to seeing a player who's been there and done that, and then he comes back and joins your squad. I know you talked to Gavin Lux about some things just about where this team is right now.
I mean, I always go back to the fact that his expectations are just really high. His standard is really high, and he's very comfortable with acknowledging that because of what he's seen from this team, and then also what he's seen in LA. I talked to Gavin Lux. This was after Saturday night's game when morale was low, about where the offense was at and what it needed to do to get back on track. What do you feel like the key to getting back on track offensively as a group right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're giving ourselves a chance. Every night we're giving ourselves a chance. It's we're just kind of not getting that big hit. I think maybe we're pressing a little too much. I don't know if that's it, but it's a tough sport, so we're just not getting that big hit when we need to. And I think that's really it, man. I still think we're taking good at bats, and I mean, getting guys on and just not getting that big hit, which I think is hurt us a couple times.
No strikeouts. You feel like that's a sign of you guys, trying to do some of those things as opposed to trying to do too much?
Yeah. I mean, if we hit a lot of balls hard again tonight, if we look at Matt, hit 2 balls really hard, or for heck, guys, Hayes hit or this last at bat, it's at 106. We're making hard outs, and we're doing a lot of things well, and that not getting rewarded for, and can get frustrating at times, but that's just part of baseball. We got to keep going, but I still think we're taking professional at bats, but we're just lacking the big hit a little bit.
Last thing, being the time of year that it is, like these types of cold stretches happen at all points of the year, but how much tougher is it? Maybe is there any added impact of having it at this stretch of the season?
Yeah, I mean, they're all important. I think, we're running out of games though at this point, where it's every game is really, really important. And I don't think it's added pressure. I still think you just go out there and then play our game, but yeah, maybe press it a little bit.
Tough stretch. It's a team that needs answers, and the best solution they had right in front of them right now, not to keep going back to it, was Sal Stewart, and we'll see how that gets deployed. But then just overall approach-wise too, you can feel it's a Reds team that's trying to figure out what they need to be doing right now to maximize what they do have.
Yeah, and listen, everyone's past experience, they bring something different to the equation, something different to the clubhouse. We could talk about Gavin Lux and Jose Trevino, who just played in the World Series. Lux has his ring now. I thought it was interesting that Ke'Bryan Hayes on Saturday, after he homered in the loss to the Cardinals, brought up the fact that, hey, this is different to me. This is where I wanted to be. I haven't been in this situation in late August where I'm on a team that's chasing a spot in the playoffs. He has that experience. There are a number of Reds who've been with the Reds and have never been in a situation like this. But you hope that somewhere in there, with your World Series winning Hall of Fame to be manager, that some combination of all of those experiences builds or comes together and fits the pieces of the puzzle together in the right way for the Reds to be able to have something to play for in the month of September. And so that's where the Reds are right now. And you're looking at the rest of this homestand, the first place Blue Jays, the New York Mets. Those are opportunities. The Reds have missed a lot of opportunities in the last few weeks. We'll see what happens on the rest of this homestand. This week's Reds milestone moment of the week, I'm going to go ahead and this is almost like a preemptive milestone. I'm going to call it the September call-up of Sal Stewart. This week's Reds milestone moment of the week. A preemptive hope that Sal Stewart, wishing him well and wishing him success that aids the Reds in this push they're trying to make now for the month of September. And as always, our milestone moment of the week brought to you by Glenville Ave. The folks with the blanket that capture your family and your baby's milestone. Those things that are growth and achievement for your child. And so it's the baby blanket designed by parents who wanted something better. Glenville Ave. It's softer, safer, bigger, better when we get right down to it. And it's built to last. It's baby blankets that create a keepsake for you, your child, and your family. If you need a gift for a shower, if you need a gift for a family friend, and that's where you are, go to Glenville Ave. Check out the website, GlenvilleAveLLC.com. Because the Power Stacks community, because the Stacks Pack has been so good in expanding the traffic on the website, the good folks at Glenville Ave have upped the discount. So if you go to GlenvilleAveLLC.com, use the promo code STACKS, you will now get not 10, but 15% off your first order. So be sure and do that. Support the folks who support this show, and we appreciate the good folks at Glenville Ave for all they've done for us.
While we're talking about family, can I set the scene for something that you're about to know a lot more about?
Please.
The concept of the Stewarts, Sal Stewart's family. These guys are awesome. These guys they love ball, lots of energy. I mean, like, my favorite moment for them is it's the Futures game, and it's like 95 degrees and it's batting practice, and there are a couple people up in the shaded areas of the concourse. The Stewarts are locked in the front row, all wearing Stewart jerseys. They all look like Sal, and they're going crazy. And they're I talked to them that day. They're a really good group of guys. They love baseball. They got a lot of energy, and I'm excited I'm sure Jim will talk to Dad tomorrow on the broadcast, Jim Day.
I'm sure.
I'm excited for the Stewart family to be introduced to the Cincinnati world.
It's good to see you smile. Rufus somewhere is watching the YouTube of Power Stacks, and he's glad to see Chaz smile. He delights in that. And I'm glad to see your positivity, Chaz. You know, you came to me and you said, hey, I don't want to be negative. You said I might want to be more positive. And I talked to the godfather of the Growler Podcast Network. He said you guys did Who Day Bright just to bring some positivity back. We may table that since there are 25 games to go for the Reds. We may hang on to that for when we really need it. But I could see us doing a Power Stacks positivity show coming up in the near future.
Number one, Sal Stewart's family.
We could start it right there. We could, definitely. All right, moving on now to Charlie's notebook. And we open up that tattered, worn, well-loved green notebook. And on the pages inside, we find that Charlie went to Elly De La Cruz. And for the most part, pregame, Elly is working and doing his routine and doing all those things. We typically hear from Elly post-game after he's done something pretty great to help the Reds win. But I'm always glad if you're able to track him down or someone tracks him down just to get a few words with him pregame, just about where he is, because I feel like that's an opportunity that we don't take advantage of as much as you should hope to when you have a player like Elly De La Cruz. So when you found Elly recently and got a chance to spend a few minutes with him, where did that conversation go?
Just kind of wanted to check in. Like, I didn't come into this interview with specific questions. It was like, what's up? And how's everything going? And I did start with the homerless streak. Here's Elly De La Cruz. Just a quick check-in on kind of where his mindset's at during what's been undoubtedly the worst month he's had since his rookie season.
These games without homers, do you just think that's the kind of thing that happens over the course of the season, or what do you make of it?
Yeah, this is how the season. We got to like to go through it.
How are you feeling offensively?
Good. I feel good.
I agree. What has it meant to keep playing every day, and how are you feeling physically?
You gotta be mentally strong. It doesn't matter what happened the day before. You gotta come with the same mentality the next day. Just to keep going.
With some of the stuff on the bases you did on the road, are you feeling like you're moving better than you have?
Yeah. I feel pretty good.
To follow up, like, has it meant a lot that you haven't been given an off day, considering how important that is to you?
Yeah. I just want to be able to keep playing every day.
What's the key to more consistency on defense? What's the key?
We just gotta work every day. Before the game, prepare mentally to the game.
The team is in the race, in the hunt. How much are you looking forward to being a big part of that?
Oh yeah, we all gotta make it. That's why we play this thing. So we just gotta keep it.
He's fighting. He's grinding.
Yeah.
He knows there's not a ton to be upbeat about right now, but he's sticking with it. I mean, we can't doubt that. It's been a grind, and there's stuff he definitely has to improve on. He was in there at DH today, but again, it feels like he's battling through it.
He's battling, and Terry Francona, Elly De La Cruz, would never come out and say exactly the extent of the quad injury, but I think people should know that Francona has alluded to multiple times, hey, he's really doing all he can to manage this injury. What it sounds like to me, reading between the lines, is this is maybe a bigger deal. The fact that it's been, all of this time, that this is maybe a bigger deal than some people would like to believe. They want to see Elly De La Cruz. They want to make Elly. They want to see Elly De La Cruz.
It's been months. It's been months. Like we heard about the quad in July.
Yes. He's brought it up since then. People assume when Elly De La Cruz gets on first base, they want to see last season's Elly De La Cruz. They want to see him go. He was already not going to do that because he was going to be more selective and not make as many outs on the bases. But watching him go through what he's gone through and not run and struggle at times, there are no excuses here, but I think a guy has really used the word battling. I think he's fighting through some stuff right now that maybe is bigger than some of us would like to say. He hasn't hit a home run in a lot. Your legs are a big part of all that, what you do. Elly De La Cruz, for the first time in his career, is feeling a little bit frustrated with his production. And it happens to everybody. It happens to the great ones. So I think, like I said, there's no excuse here, but I think the fact that he's played every day with this injury that has been lingering for months now, I give him a lot of credit for that. And but it's a fair question to ask, and it has been asked of Terry Francona about, does the guy just need a little bit of a breather? Does he need a day here and there? When he DHs and doesn't play in the field, does that give him a little bit of a break? Yeah, sure, of course it does. But at this point, given where the Reds are and how they've struggled offensively, do you feel good about if you were to give Elly De La Cruz a day or two off and take him out? Do you feel good about how that might impact the team that's already struggling offensively? If he has a couple of strikeouts a night, he has typically mixed in a hit or a double or something like that to justify his being in the lineup. And so I think it's a tough spot to be in right now for De La Cruz and Francona.
I think he looked better at the weekend over the plate. Like he's on more of a, like he was on a real downswing. I think he's more on the way up, but obviously not quite at the level that we're used to seeing him at as a whole. Should Elly get a day off is one of the harder questions I've battled with, and I've gone back and forth on it. For all the complex reasons that you mentioned, the big games, the fact that how much he wants it, what it means to him, compared with just what we're seeing. But it also isn't so bad to the extent that he just needs it. You can see that he's just fried out there. So I go back and forth on it. I don't know. And it's a really fine line that I guess the Reds and Elly haven't done a good enough job with, because he's not quite as productive as you'd want him to be. But that's baseball in August.
That's baseball in August. But we've hit on two of the, I think, you and I hear some of the same things from people, from fans or whatever. And right now, two of the topics that we've tackled here, Sal Stewart and Elly De La Cruz, they're fair questions. They're totally fair questions. And so Sal Stewart comes up, Elly De La Cruz continues to fight and battle, and I know he wants to be the guy that helps. And when I said in the tease, I said it may not be important to you, but it's important to him. It's important to him to play every day. And I don't think it's a selfish motivation. I don't think that. I think he really believes that the team is counting on him and that he can be a big part of always making the team better. I believe that. I don't think it's selfish that he just wants to get to the end of a season, not make the playoffs, and say that he played in 162 games. That's just my personal opinion. but I feel that way. And so the Reds in September, you have these things, but now you have what Sam LeCure continues to call the nitty-gritty. September is the nitty-gritty. Before that, you can kind of say, okay, there is a little bit of runway left on the schedule. It's not anything left anymore. Here we are. And so the Reds homestand continues, and you get the best team in the American League right now, the team that has outpaced the Yankees and the Red Sox in the American League East. The Blue Jays come to Great American Ballpark. And then you have back-to-back series, back-to-back against the wild card teams in the Mets and the Padres. So we've said a number of times, it's been well documented, the Reds have the most difficult stretch of games to finish the season. Well, here it is. And here's your team. Here's your opportunity. You've kind of painted yourself into a corner. Here it is. Go beat the Blue Jays and the Mets and the Padres. And if you do, you will sweeten your chances at the wild card and making the postseason. If you don't, you don't. You think about next year, but that's where we are right now, and that's why I'm excited to watch baseball right now.
I think I said this in 2023 too, and it wasn't the most popular thing I've ever said, but I'm going to say it again.
Go.
The Reds haven't played enough playoff baseball over the last 20 years. We know this. This is playoff baseball. I mean, these are must-win games against great teams with a lot on the line. Games that Terry Francona, we've seen, he's going to manage very, very aggressively. He's been managing more aggressively. We've seen. Just look at how he's pitch hitting and pinch running the catchers. It's close to playoff baseball, and that's just where the Reds are at in terms of these games that they have to win.
They have to win, and so I will give you now the final word as the Reds are about to embark on this month of September. This is Sunday night, the last day of August. The month of September starts tomorrow. Give me the final word, Chaz, from your perspective on this team and what's ahead of them down the stretch.
The thing I keep going back to the most is like who's going to change the story of their season the most? Whose opinion are we of their season going to change the most in September? Is it going to be Hunter Green, Matt McClain, Miguel Andujar is an option if he can stay healthier? Sal Stewart's an option. Can Austin Hayes say you got to bring this guy back with the strong conclusion to September? Can Nick Lodolo finally solidify and put the finishing touch on showing what he can do over a full season, mostly healthy? Andrew Abbott, we talked about that theme earlier. Who's going to cement or try and maybe even successfully rewrite what their season can be? And then the Reds are going to need multiple of those examples for them to make a run at this.
I'm excited. I'm not just a homer. I'm excited because it's September. There's a cool breeze at the ballpark. There were great crowds there this weekend. And I hope the Reds play well against the Jays so that we can experience that Reds-Mets weekend September series that could tighten things up. They could mean a lot, could go a long way towards determining what the rest of the month and the playoff picture looks like. You don't often get that opportunity head-to-head with the team that you're chasing in the month of September. Well, the Reds are going to have that opportunity. And so I hope that series at the ballpark is a big one, and I hope we have some good things to talk about. This is going to be the place that you'll want to be. Power Stacks. You got Chaz working the clubhouse. I'll try and direct some traffic here and keep things online, but check back with us, tell a friend about the show, and enjoy this part of the season because the Reds haven't been in this position that often. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what they do. Thanks to Chaz, thanks to producer Kent, and we'll see you at the ballpark, and we'll see you next time on Power Stacks. We'll see you next time.